There's a statistic out there, 39% of Americans are lonely, or say that they don't feel that they have a significant relationship. So there's this whole piece of Americans feeling really lonely and isolated and disconnected. So I mean, I realize I sometimes will walk the dog and say, okay, I'm not taking my phone. And I see other people walking their dogs and they're on their phone. And so, I think, wow, back in the day, I remember, walking a dog and, hey, how you doing? And people are waving and saying hello and interacting. Oh, what a cute dog you have. And we're just sort of, I have the feeling that we're just getting buried in these devices.
There's an interesting trend that has happened in the last like 5 to 10 years, that this is the first time in recorded history where a country's GDP, or how wealthy a country is, this is the first time it's becoming inversely relational to the country's happiness. Up until this point, the more money that we had to spend and at our disposal, the happier we tended to report that we were. And now we're starting to see that those trends get reversed, that the more money we have, the less happy we are. And I don't think it's only technology and devices, but I think that that's a significant piece, because I don't think that the socialization we get online is the same as what we get in person.
Dan?
Yeah, I'd have to look up the stats with this in the study, but I had heard about it, and I'm just going to say it, and hopefully we can follow up with some more. I'll do some more research on it. But I'd heard someone say that the classic still face experiment, that someone replicated it, more recently, last several years, to include smartphone use. How someone on their phone, and what the kind of distress caused to the infant who was being studied. So I'll just explain. You guys go through the still face experiment real quick.
I think it'd be great
go
to tell
for it.
listeners, and I think it's fascinating that they brought the phone in.
Yeah. So the original still face experiment included, so at the time, that I forget exactly when it was, but it was a long time ago. But it was mother and infant, because that was kind of the standard unit at that time. And the mother is interacting with the infant. The infant makes coos and the mom reciprocates, and they're mirroring each other. The experiment then, at some point, the mom goes still face. So she's not, she just kind of has a neutral expression. And the baby tries to connect, the infant tries to connect with mom, and there's no expression. And the interesting thing is, within seconds, the baby starts getting upset, and starts getting really upset and distressed that they can't reach mom. And then of course, after that, mom, the experiment stops, and the mom comes and re-engages with the infant, and everything's fine again. But the fascinating thing, we're so wired for connection and getting mirrored, that within seconds that we get distressed. So, and it's so primal for survival. So my understanding, and again, I have to research it more, they did the experiment, but now someone's on their phone, and it seems like it was replicated in the same kind of way. So we have this sort of primal connection, attachment, distress when someone's on the phone and you're trying to reach them. And I think that's something, what happens if that becomes what I get used to, that, I make a bid to connect with my parent or my significant other or a friend, and they're on their phone. If that's normal for me, and maybe I stop losing the distress, because now I actually have to cope with that world. What does that do to us? And how do we kind of, I don't know, are we ready for that if we're so wired for connection and mirroring? How does that affect us, and what are we going to be seeing long term?
This reminds me of what Wendy was saying, Dan. And I don't have studies to give you citations, but I've read this, like Wendy was saying, that many people feel lonely, especially in our young adult kid world. The increase of socialization online is correlating with a decrease of connection and increase of loneliness. And then there's the question, of course, is this leading to more mental health, depression, and possible suicide ideation? But we've got this inverse relationship between social media being everything's wonderful, here's this facade, and I'm used to maybe not engaging, but actually when I'm in my room, I'm by myself. And that's a real concern for our society.